Hello and welcome to the Fulhamish quick take after Fulham's 3-0 victory over Brighton and Hove Albion. We were going to go to the pub and then we thought, it's too bloody nice out here. Hello, mate.
Hello. How are we doing?
Good, thank you. What a win. We're here in the sunset and Fulham are winning football matches 3-0 against De Zerbi's masterclass, so-called. What an afternoon, eh?
So fun. It was genuinely just a fun game of football to watch from a Fulham perspective. I thought we had their number from pretty much maybe 10 minutes in. I think we knew what Brighton are about, and Marco spoke about it in the week. They're a team that keep the ball, don't like you having the ball, and actually we thought, fine, you're more than welcome to have the ball, because every time we get it, we're just going to fly down the other end and we're going to cause you problems. It was like really fun to watch.
Yeah, I had one of those feelings before the game where I thought it was like, everything tells me that this should be a Fulham win today. Like, Brighton have got kind of big absentees, Fulham are on form, lots of players kind of coming into form for Fulham, but I guess I just worried that, overconfidence generally as a football fan tends to lead to Fulham 0, Brighton 1. So it was nice just to go to the football, be confident, and actually see us really deliver in that first half.
Yeah, and I think off the back of last week's result as well, to be able to go big win at Old Trafford and then just to follow it up with what felt like a routine home win. I think it's just such like a vindication of what a good place this team is in at the moment, and we fully deserved it. I was the same as you. I came in just like with a confidence. I don't know what it was. I just felt so certain that we were going to win today, and I didn't really have any basis for it. It just felt like we were in the right place, right time, and we're just ticking at the moment. It's amazing.
Yeah, and if I'd have told you that when João Palhinha picked up that 10th yellow card that we'd win away at Old Trafford and then a 3-0 home win against Brighton, I mean, you'd have probably locked me up.
Yeah. I said it last week on the pod. We didn't miss him. It genuinely didn't feel like we missed him. I thought Sasa Lukic wasn't as influential today as he was against United, but I think it's because we had more of the ball against United, whereas today his job was just to sit there. If he needed to recycle possession, he was there to do it. He snapped into tackles well again, and that pairing of him and Reed is a really good double pivot. And I know you joked about it on the pod, but it is actually, I think Marco will and ah next week about, which one of those two do you drop, because you probably do have to. He is our best player, João Palhinha, but it's not as easy a decision as it has been for every other game since he joined.
Yeah. Money Moon is... I love him. I am fully converted. I'm here for the hype.
Yeah.
I'm just on board the train. I'm not going to be here pessimistic. Oh, is it a hot streak? I'm on board.
Yeah. No, this isn't a hot streak. I'm certain of it now. I'm certain. Because I think a hot streak you talk about, it tends to be a striker scoring goals and being in the right place, right time, whereas his all-round game is not a hot streak. This is a player who has learned how to be a centre forward. He's learned how to be a number 9. It's amazing. Yeah. I thought he bullied that in the first half. He bullied the centre back trio. He was all over Adam Webster. Lewis Dunk struggled to deal with him, and for the first goal, it was all him. Yeah. That was all his. There was
no right to get that ball to Harry Wilson like he did.
No, I mean, it was a nothing ball up to him. That was a sort of see if you can do anything with it. He battles for it. He then makes it hard for Webster, and then he makes it hard for him again and plays through Wilson. And I don't know, that was one of those moments when Harry Wilson chops onto his left foot. You think that's goal. Sometimes he does it from 25 yards out and you think he could do something special, but from the edge of the area, that's just his spot. I don't think he's ever missing from there.
Yeah, and then the second goal, I mean, my dad actually said it to me during the match. He's third favourite to win that header, and proper centre-forward play. He is a proper centre-forward, and I just cannot believe that the option was there the whole time.
As you said, down the back of the sofa, just plucking him out. That run is fantastic. Yeah, when Harry Wilson comes back onto his left and he looks to whip that in, Muniz just knows exactly the run to make, and that's, I don't think Wilson, in that moment when Wilson goes to cross it, he's putting it into the area where he thinks someone should be, and Muniz knows to be there. That was a sort of a telepathic, an understanding of how you should set up. And that run is brilliant, and the header is fantastic. And that was Mitro-esque. It really was. That run across the face, it was a Mitro-esque performance. If anything, a little bit more. I think Muniz has got he's a bit more cultured. There is something a little bit about him, that Samba flair, where he's actually a bit tidier. And I said it, he was clumsy previously, but he doesn't look clumsy anymore. He looks like a a player who's together. He's no longer the baby giraffe. He's grown up in the space of about 4 weeks to a fully fledged adult giraffe who knows how to move about.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a sensational first half performance, 2-0 at the break. And I guess if there was maybe one negative, and this is really clutching at straws for negatives, is that Fulham didn't make it 3 early on in the second half. So many chances. Andreas Pereira clearly has the best one. But actually, there was numerous moments in that first 10 minutes where we were carving open Brighton at will. And actually, Brighton had their moments where they could have got back into this game. They hit the posts, they had good chances. And Fulham nearly were made to pay for being very, very wasteful of some really good openings.
Yeah, there was a few times. It was weird because that first 15 minutes of the second half was like the last 15 minutes of a game where a team was desperate for a goal. I thought Brighton approached that start of the second half so wrong. They were so open, and we did exactly that. I mean, what we did in the first half, but Brighton were even more open, that it allowed us to do it even more sort of devastatingly. And I think Harry Wilson should probably score at one point. If he doesn't score, he should cut it back to Muniz again. Pereira, I think one-on-one is like that kryptonite for him, capable of doing special things, and I actually thought he played really well today. And to follow up his performance at Old Trafford as well, I think these are probably his best 2 performances of the season, just involved, constantly making things happen, which is usually the criticism of him, is that he doesn't get involved enough. And that was really, I mean, like, there were laughs from the hammy end when he managed to eventually get a shot off and put it wide, because I don't think anyone could quite believe how he turned a simple one-on-one into like the hardest chance you could possibly create. And then we'd sort of flattened out a bit. It's such a small criticism, but I do think Marco probably could have changed the game a little bit earlier. I thought the subs of Breuer and Traore were like a given, that they probably could have happened with at the 75th minute, because Muniz had put in such a shift, he was cooked. Iwobi had drifted and Willian had come on. It just felt right to get a couple of quicker players on, and they were there to kill off, and eventually it happened. And it's a fun way to seal a win, isn't it? Just Adama Traore just herring through the middle of the pitch to tuck it away.
Yeah, I thought actually it really was the icing on the cake, wasn't it? Because it had actually been a bit of a long second half. Brighton had so much of the ball, and like
the second half was a bit boring in those from minute 60 to minute 85. Nothing really happened.
But I mean, probably mostly well done from a Fulham perspective. We didn't need anything to happen, but just seal it off. And actually Bobby does really well, doesn't he? And Bobby's lost his place, and actually I thought he came on and just brought us so much energy, and actually the awareness, because he realised, I'm not going to make this one-on-one and by myself, I'm going to get chased down, to actually have the awareness to pull it back, find Adama Traore, and nice to see some composure from Adama. 2 weeks in a row, he's really shown some good composure.
Yeah, and like that wasn't, I think he felt in himself that he was just definitely going to bury that chance, because I think the difficulty with someone that's that quick, and we sometimes see it with Anthony Robinson, is that your legs are going so quickly that you get a bit discombobulated in the end move. And actually, he just slowed it down. Once he got into the box and he knew that he didn't need to be going at full pelt, he just took his time, slowed it down, waited for Steele to commit himself, and just rolled it between his legs. Like that was a proper finish. And for a player that doesn't score very many goals, that was a very calm finish.
Yeah. And just like looking now for Fulham, I mean, Silva said in the week, he's like, survival's not what this is about. I'm looking up the table. I thought it was very good words actually from Marco, because it's very easy to go like, no, 40 points is the aim and all of this. He's looking up the table, and why shouldn't we now? I think we keep saying on one of these quick takes, are we safe? Are we safe? Are we safe? I think we are looking up now, aren't we?
Yeah, and that's fun. It's like, and we were speaking about it. Actually, this run-in is quite tasty. There's a lot of games in there that feel winnable, and that's fun, because like today, not a huge amount of pressure on us. We've got quite a lot of teams that we play who are really scrapping for serious things now, like talking in danger of going down or fighting for top 4, top 6, and actually we can turn up and ruin a few days, and that's so fun, because I think we're great at that actually. Yeah. Under Marco, we've always been great at pitching up at teams and just ruining a day out, because we just seem to have that edge to us. I thought that's what we had over Brighton today, was that our ability to be both a really pretty football team to watch. Some of our moves were lovely, but also just snap and just be horrible and get into them. We didn't let Brighton play, and I think we've got opportunities to do that from now to the end of the season. And I was very sceptical 2 or 3 weeks ago that a top half finish was on, but I think it's a genuine aim. We've got Wolves next week. We go above them if we beat them. Chelsea still floundering. I think top half is a reasonable aim, and if we do it, I think it's actually more impressive than last season's finish. I think if we finish 10th this season, it's more impressive.
Oh, 100%. I think given the kind of limitations that we've had this season, the injury problems, the absentees, and, you know, we obviously know the transfer kind of summer window didn't go as well as we want. I genuinely think if we can make it, it will just, for me, rubber stamp that Marco Silva is one of the best managers in this league. And I mean, he came up against a manager who is kind of regarded as one of the kind of, you know, the up-and-coming managers. And I look, I think De Zerbi's great. I don't think one loss defines any of that. But I just think that Silva should be in these conversations. But every time I say this, I say to myself, why? I don't want him in these conversations. I'm happy for him just to go under the radar. It's better for us.
It is. But I think there is like things behind it that explain why I don't think he gets as much praise. When you look at De Zerbi, but you look at Gary O'Neill as well, who has done an incredible job at Wolves, given what he's gone into, how difficult it's been for them this season. He's done fantastically. But it's because he had credit in the bank from the Bournemouth role, and then he's done well with Wolves. I think there's nothing tarnishing his record at the moment. Whereas I think with people, when you talk about Marco Silva, they still in the back of their mind have the Everton job that he did, what happened at Watford. You know, I think he did a really good job at Hull, but ultimately they got relegated. I think that those things stay. And actually, if you isolate the past 3 years, his record is like impeccable. Like just ludicrous what he's done with us and how he has converted a club that stumbled over the line most seasons getting out of the Championship and then just achieved nothing in the Premier League, and he's romped the Championship. We're having fun in the Premier League 2 consecutive seasons. I mean, yeah, other clubs can sod off because he's ours, but like he does deserve more praise. I'd like to see him get more praise as opposed to like, oh, Marco Silva's doing a good job for Fulham, isn't he? Yeah, like that's the extent of the conversation, whereas Gary O'Neill gets a 15-minute monologue.
Just quickly before we finish, man of the match?
Rodrigo Muniz. Can I give it to him? I granted, it's probably based off 60 minutes of football, because I think for the last half an hour he got tired and we sort of faded out of the game a bit. But those first 60 minutes, complete centre forwards performance, had a hand in both goals, led the line brilliantly. We spoke about it. His opposite number, Evan Ferguson, who is widely regarded as a real special talent, and he is.
Yeah.
Muniz looked twice the player he did today. You know, I thought Calvin Bassey was superb and dealt with Ferguson brilliantly. And actually, Calvin would be up there for me as a player in contention for it as well, because I thought he was pretty much flawless. His speed and his strength and his eye for a challenge and an aerial battle. Like, he is a complete centre-back, and he's a real gem. I think if we can hold on to him for a while, we've got we have our Tim Ream heir, which is what we spoke about at the start of the season. It's proved that he is, and it's happened beautifully, that gradual handing over of the flame. Like, it's lovely. But I'll give it to Roddy, because I think after that performance at Old Trafford, after the 3 weeks that came before it, to do it again today, to stick his name in the hat for the Brazil side.
Should be there. Justice for Rodrigo.
Well, I mean, someone made a valid point that Richarlison isn't fit at the moment, and he's in that squad currently. If his injury holds up for longer than expected, there is a spot in that side. And I don't necessarily think it's like justified necessarily, because you're talking about a player who for the past 4 years has proved that he shouldn't be anywhere near the Brazil side, and then the past month has been excellent. But they'll be looking at him, because I mean, he's doing special things in the Premier League, and that's the pinnacle, isn't it? Performing in the Premier League, I think everyone ranks that above any other division. You know, any of the top divisions in Europe, if you're doing it in the Premier League, people stop and watch, and he's doing it.
Yeah. No, I think for me it probably is Rodrigo, because those 2 involvements in the 2 clutch goals of this game, and I think that ultimately does get it for you. But for me, yeah, Bassey, Tosin as well, I thought was had a good performance. I mean, it's pretty much.
Harry Wilson. Yeah. Harry Wilson was great as well. So there's a lot of players out there.
I think you could be justified today in saying that all 11 players probably at least an 8.
Yeah.
And a lot of them at least a 9.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like Old Trafford, there's no one that you're looking at, oh, you've let us down today. Everyone played a part, and even again off the bench as well, TC came on, calmed things down. It was a smart sub as well, because TC and Willian, I think he trusts them so much to just be cool and collected in big moments. And then, as you said, Bobby comes on, makes a difference. Even though he was on the pitch for 5 minutes, Traore gets a goal off the bench. Like, everyone gets credit out of this game today.
Yeah. Right, that'll do for the quick take. We're losing the light slightly. You might have noticed it was a lot lighter 15 minutes ago when we started this. Thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the game in the comments. Maybe your man of the match as well. Always good to hear. Dan, thank you very much.
Been a pleasure.
Have a nice Saturday evening.
Thank you. You too.
And we'll see you very soon. Come on, you whites.